Hey YouTube, I thought I'd stop by today and talk about a few things. First, Sophia. On my last video, I had mentioned Sophia, and the question kind of came up as to whether or not that was specifically a female reference or not. What I have found is that it really doesn't matter one way or another whether it is a female deity or a female form or a form, just even if it's just a gender neutral form, which it's not typically considered a gender neutral form in the theology, but either way it's she serves the same function. So typically the way I use Sophia is as form of wisdom rather than a deity. And this also goes into, the question of like the Holy Spirit. Is the Holy Spirit a deity or a form? It really doesn't matter. It'd be nice to know for the particular theologies, but it really doesn't matter, because either way, the Holy Spirit serves the same function, whether it's a form or a deity. And the same thing with Sophia. And again, she was a part of that original Trinity, so it doesn't technically matter. Some theologies seem to have her as a deity, but for the most part, it doesn't matter whether she's one or the other, because she's going to serve the same function. So that is that. Oh yeah, and Mark and Luke, the way that they mention her, it would be impossible to say. You could flip a coin on it, really. But and it does appear to go back to Marcionism. The Marcionites do appear to have brought up that line first, in essence, and the Marcionites were a demiurge theology, so there's no reason to believe that she couldn't be a deity. On the other hand, it doesn't really matter. Deities and forms are basically very, very similar. They have very, very similar properties. And like I said, some theologies do have her as a deity, but impossible to say whether or not Matthew or Luke thought of her as a deity. Just simply impossible to say. Let's see, next thing, let's see, someone had asked a question about, whether or not Jesus, what was the advantage of Christianity over the other mystery cults? And in my opinion, that was flesh. The ability to have flesh, where Mithras, Isis, Dionysus, Horus, Serapion could not achieve flesh. It was impossible for them to achieve flesh, to come down in flesh form. Jesus was also had that kind of hamstring early on, but they added flesh. And it has occurred to me over and over again that for some reason the flesh theology seems to pop up after Bar Kokhba. And that question, this is why I like these exchanges so much, is because you guys kind of trigger in my mind ideas every once in a while, but just really didn't, I really hadn't thought about it, I guess, too much, about why it was that flesh kept popping up after Simon Bar Kokhba. But I think it was a response to Simon Bar Kokhba, the guy that led the revolt. He led a massive revolt, lasted 4 years, killed a lot of people, and he was a messianic type figure with a following. And since he was a real human, he did indeed have that advantage, where Jesus before this time appears to have been either heavenly flesh or some other nebulous version of flesh, where he was not literally flesh, because flesh was a burden. Human flesh was a burden. And he appears to have either the form of flesh or just give the appearance of flesh or something like that. But after Bar Kokhba revolt, he appears to have the flesh aspect, the human flesh aspect, seems to pop up, and that's probably a response to Simon Bar Kokhba. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there. And I think I'm going to do quite a lot of reading up on Valentinianism. Valentinianism is a topic that I've avoided, mainly because to me it looks like a hybrid of some of the best of Marcionism and the best of the Johannine lineage. And Valentinianism appears to me to be a very open system, a very these are where the happy people are in Valentinianism, and they're so happy that they don't stay together. They fracture quite often and spin off quite a lot of theologies. But I'm going to go into Valentinianism and talk about Valentinus. Very interesting theology, and it's very complex because of the kind of two systems. It brings in all the Pauline letters, but it also brings in Johannine theology. Or at least the best of the Johannine theology. So, very interesting. And I think that's all I'm going to talk about this morning. Try and get myself together and dive into something new here. One other thing. Comparative religion. I know that some people have wanted me to go into comparative religion and that sort of thing, and I'm still trying to avoid that for a little while. But I want to assure everyone that on the comparative stuff, I really do not see it as a problem at all. In fact, I think that the comparative religion people have a lot to say about Christianity. I think you can find a lot of information about Christianity from other theologies. So even though I don't go into it too much, I try not to. That's not to say that I don't agree with a lot of their premises in general. And there is a very good chance that once I get my book out and get that all out, that I will actually go into some more comparative religion, because there are some theologies I think that just snap perfectly into my the models that I have. So, and I would like to get into those. So, anyway, I guess that's all I've got for you today. Thanks a lot, folks. Bye.